Take 3, going live. Last time I did it in the wrong orientation. I'm going to edit this video for later use. I'm doing some easy beginner fundamental rhythm practice here. And I'm using just a drum backing track. I'm going to bring that up again. So I've got my acoustic guitar here. It's tuned to drop D tuning, which means that the low string, which is normally called your low E string, is now a D string because I tuned it down to D. And why would you want to do that? Well, it just sounds kind of cool with chords like D or in the key of D and G, and it gives you some fuller low end licks and chord voicings. For instance, if you finger the standard D chord, and you strum all 6 strings now, they all are part of that D chord, including the bottom, which means you can throw in a cool lick like this. It's good for slide. And the key of D and G, I think, is what it works best for. Obviously, if you put a capo on it, then it's drop whatever the note is your capo's at. But that's not what I wanted to talk about in this video. I want to talk about show you a real easy fundamental rhythm exercise or practice that I still warm up with sometimes. This is good for warming up if you're going to sit down and you want to play, or maybe you're struggling just learning how to strum and you want a way to develop that. This isn't real exciting, it's kind of boring, but if you can find or make a simple drum track like I'm going to play in the background here over a couple of stereo speakers here. I have no idea how loud they're going to sound in this video. It makes it a little more interesting. So the main idea is you start at 60 beats a minute, which is relatively slow, and you go through and you play for a while just doing quarter notes, all down strokes, or you could alternate down and up strokes. That's really slow, but you want to get it smooth, and you want to log in with the rhythm, like if you were playing with a band or you're going to do a recording and you want somebody else to play along with it later. It helps to keep a constant beats per minute. And then we're going to switch to eighth notes, and then we're going to switch to eighth note triplets, and then we're going to switch to 16th notes, and then we're going to switch to 16th note triplets. And if you're not sure what those mean, I'll explain a little more. So here we go. I'm going to turn on the beat. Really slow. 60 beats a minute. Kick and snare. So with the D string, and if you're not drop D tuned, then just strum the top 4 strings, or I should say the bottom 4 physically. They're known as your 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st string. And just try to get a smooth strum going. You don't have to play this with a chord. You can practice these rhythms with just scratching, like. The whole point of this is your right hand. You're working your right hand. You're getting to learn smooth rhythms. So then I'm just going to go. And if you want, you could switch and do all upstrokes. If you want to practice doing that, might be good. Or downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. Now we're going to switch to eighth notes, which means there's 2 strums, 2 attacks per beat. And if you have 4/4 time, and there are 4 beats to a measure, then 4 times 2 is 8. So that's how I associate eighth notes. If that makes any sense. Think about it if it doesn't. So we're going to go down, up for each beat. So if I was just playing the beat, tapping with my fingers, it would be like this. So if you're strumming your D chord, it sounds like this. another chord there. This is good practice switching chords. If you're beginning or having trouble switching chords, pick 2 chords that you switch between. Switch every other bar, every 4 beats, switch every 2 beats, switch every beat. Practice switching your chords with this exercise. But if you're really new and a beginner, you might want to start just playing with 1 chord, because the point of this is really to work this right hand with your pick, or if you're left-handed, it'll be your left hand. You can do it without a pick. If you're learning finger picking, or you want to do something like thumb, do the same thing. I mostly play with the pick. So now we're going to switch to 8th note triplets, which gives it sort of a shuffle feel. You may recognize this. So if I'm just tapping it out on my guitar, it's be like this. You may have noticed that the hand that started every 3 notes switched, because it's an odd number of notes, 3. Which means if you're alternate picking, then the first 3 attacks, or 3 strums, are going to be down, up, down, and then the second 3 are going to be up, down, up. Don't think about that too much. It'll just kind of happen, or at least it should. If not, you may need to slow it down a little more like that. So it'll sound like this. That doesn't sound like much of a shuffle. One way to make it sound a little bit more like a shuffle is to do all downstrokes and maybe emphasize the first stroke of each beat. So like this. That sounds like a waltz, doesn't it? Doesn't sound like a shuffle yet, does it? That's a different lesson. It eventually can become a shuffle. Shuffle's based off those triplets, that triplet feel. So that's how you practice the triplets. Now I'm going to switch to 16ths, which if there's 4 beats in a measure, and there's 4 16ths per beat, that's 4 times 4 is 16. 16ths. And it might get a little tricky if you're a beginner to get 16ths, but I'm going to show you what it would sound like. So it would be 4. So each beat would get like this. It took me a couple beats to get locked in. Don't be upset if you can't lock in right away. Just keep listening. Keep listening for that next beat so that you lock in with it. So it sounds something like this. Now 16ths are what sort of funky beats are based off of most of the time. So there's 16th pattern in there. I'm not sure what it is. It's kind of slow beat for that. Hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. Then I'm going to switch to 16th triplets, which there are 6 attacks or 6 strums per each beat. And that's getting even a little faster, but notice I have not changed my speed of my drum beat or my metronome. It's still the same. You can get a lot of mileage out of the same beat, and as you're warming up, hopefully it makes it easier. If after you get past 8th notes, you're having trouble keeping up, then slow down your metronome, or cut your time in half that you're strumming. I probably shouldn't get into that now, like trying to do cut time or something like that. I think that's it, or half time. Cut time would be faster, half time slower, right? The drummers will probably correct me if they watch this video. But that's it's like this, 6 per beat. Oops. Sometimes you can come up with little mnemonics or verbal rhythmic things that you can do with your voice that'll help you figure it out. With this one, I just went deedly, 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 deedly. It helped me kind of like feel and hear what it's supposed to sound like. And if you're learning new strums or rhythms, you can do them with this. For instance, quarter notes. Speed it up to eighth notes. You can also use this rhythmic exercise for any licks or lines or lead lines that you're learning, or you're trying to learn a scale, and you're trying to learn how to play it nimbly and quickly across the frets. You start slow, play it with just quarter notes up and down, then switch to eighths, then switch to sixteenths or triplets, maybe sixteenths. Sometimes that can get a little confusing depending on how many notes there are. If there's an odd number of notes, triplets might work better. If there's an even number of notes, sixteenths or eighths might work better. So there you have it. Just a little routine to go through and work through working on your rhythm, getting your right hand locked in with a beat, and getting your strings and your strumming to all lock in together like that. So back to my drop D tuning here, huh? I like this. Something like that, just making that up as I go. I'm probably going to do another video on drop D tuning sometime. Maybe with a slide? Does that sound interesting? I don't know. But I'm going to stop this right now. Till next time. Bye.